Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Keith Heavilin. I have with me Clay Blair. You are listening to the second ever podcast of the TexTenn Podcast. We finally gave it a name. Who knows if it'll stick, but that's the name for now, the TexTenn Podcast. So I want to just start off by thanking everybody for listening to our first podcast. Honestly, I'm actually completely shocked that somebody wants to listen to a redneck from East Tennessee and a cowboy from South Texas and actually listen to the entire thing, because people listen to the entire thing. Right. It blows me away.
It's just crazy. Yeah.
It's nuts.
But
so
thanks, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Really thank you for taking 45 minutes out of your life to give to us to listen. And, I don't know that we gave you anything in return. Hopefully we gave you a couple of laughs, gave you something to do while you're driving down the road. I don't know. But,
we had so much fun doing it that here's number 2.
Yeah, we're going round 2. So I'm going to give you some statistics because you don't have access to everything I have access to. And not that you could figure it out anyway, because you're technologically challenged, but just a few statistics. So we had it's just shy of 60 hours of people listening to us. So people took a week and a half worth of work week hours to listen to us talk and blabber back and forth. And then between the actual podcast video itself and then the shorts that I put out, 1,100 people watched.
Really?
1,100 people watched. Is that not nuts?
No, I don't know if it's nuts.
It's nuts.
Yes.
Like, my mom can only watch so many times. And other than my mom and maybe a few, my wife and a couple of their family members, I don't know that anybody else that knows me listened. And I know I'm fairly certain you don't have 1,100 friends and family members that listen. Yeah. So I think some actual strangers listen to this podcast, which is it's kind of amazing. So anyway, so those are our statistics for the week. Kind of fantastic. So again, thank you. If you listen, thank you for listening. If you're listening to this, again, thank you. I do need to shout out to our sponsor, Rat Hole Drilling Inc. Jeff, thank you so much for sponsoring both week 1 and week 2. Sir, you are a gentleman and a scholar and a good friend. So, which kind of leads me into what I want to talk about today. It's friends. Okay. So my daughter, Annabelle, for those of you who don't know, she's 11 years old. She's extremely feisty, and I don't understand anything according to her. She knows way more than I do. And I don't know why I even have Google. Between my daughter and my son, 10 and 11-year-old, they know everything. So I don't need Google. It's just, I could just stop using a computer according to them.
Just use them.
Yeah, just use them. Just ask them any question. They know the answer. So I asked her the question about best friends the other day. I don't remember why we were talking. It was while we were going to a soccer game or something like that. And I asked her, so who's your actual best friend? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, you have a best friend, right? She's like, no, I don't have a best friend. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have a best friend? Like, how do you not have a best friend? She goes, well, I have best friends. And I'm like, is that allowed? Like, are you allowed to have best friends? Because when I was a kid, 800 years ago, back in the 80s, 90s, I guess it would have been, because it would have been 91 for me when I was her age. You had a best friend, or at least that's what I felt like. And maybe it's just because maybe this is the difference between men and women, girls and boys, but I felt like I was only allowed to have one. I did not feel like I was allowed to have more than one best friend.
I agree.
But yeah, so what are your thoughts on that? Because that was confusing to me. But now that I think about it, I think she might be right. Because she is Google after all.
I don't know. It's something that I've always struggled with too. When you want to talk about somebody else that is a really, really, really great friend, is that cheating on who you call your best friend?
Exactly.
Yes, it's hard. It's so hard.
Yeah, that's again as a kid, that's what it felt like. Is like, oh, am I cheating on Matt? I guess my first best friend would have been Ryan Hillis way back in the day, back when I was 6 or 7 years old.
Way to go, Ryan.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years old and moved to West Arrowwood Road. He was the kid that lived right down the street. His dad and my dad worked together at the post office, and we became best friends. And then, unfortunately, he had to move away, and that sucked. But yeah, it would have felt like I was cheating on him if I said, well, somebody else is also a best friend. But, I think about it. And as I think about it, after talking to her, I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Actually, I feel like I have multiple people that I would consider a best friend right now. So
is that okay?
I think it's okay because I'm going to give my definition of what I consider my best friends. These are guys that if I called them in the middle of the night or sent them a text in the middle of the night and said, hey, I ended up in Mexico. I need help. I've been arrested. bring a gun, whatever it is. They would be like, I'll be there in how many ever hours, right? Like, that's like, no questions asked. Not like, what the heck did you do? Like, why? Are you an idiot? You got yourself in trouble? Like, no questions. Right. They would just drop everything, get in the car, get on a plane, and just come figure out how to help me. So, like, when I think about that, after talking to Annabelle, I would think Robbie Abbott out of Knoxville, Tennessee. He and I have been best friends since like 2009, 2010. We worked at the car dealership together. We kind of came up through the car dealership together. And then I have a buddy, Duncan Alney, and Neil Meyer, both own digital marketing agencies. So if you ever get tired of me, you can go hire them. I'll give you their contact. Yeah, I'll give you their contact info. Okay. But those are three guys that if I said, hey, I need help right now, they drop everything and just come. So like, I think it's okay to say they're all three my best friends. I mean, what do you, I assume you have at least a best friend. You're afraid to say that you have multiple.
Yeah, I've got lots of friends. I've got lots of friends that, by your definition of the Mexico thing, then, man, I've got lots of best friends, I guess. But yeah, you can see I'm nervous talking about this.
Absolutely. I just called it out. He's over here just dancing around and he didn't want to answer anything. It's okay. It's okay to say it. No, it's interesting. So the other interesting thing for me is because she was asking me like, who's like, if I'm still friends with my best friend from when I was her age. And it's really interesting to me because I'm like, I thought about it. I'm not necessarily a great best friend as far as a like staying in touch. Like I'm not great about that.
Sure.
You know, I could go a year without talking to Robbie and
you fall right back into it.
Like it's nothing.
As soon as you talk, right. Sure.
Like it's nothing.
Absolutely.
My best friend from childhood, and we, over the last, 12 years or so, haven't really talked much at all. Matt Rouse, he and I would go, we literally, when he was like in med school, we would go a year without really talking. And then he'd show back up in Knoxville and we'd kind of fall back in line. But yeah, I'm not the world's best at keeping up with people. Thought about that, realized that, because I really don't talk to anybody from high school, but I don't live where I went to high school like you do. So, yeah. I mean, do you still talk to people that you went to high school with or no?
Oh yeah, you bet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm friends with them on Facebook now, but I don't really post on Facebook. And
yeah,
you know,
I just realized something in this conversation. Dad, who we all learned from last week's episode, grew up in Three Rivers, right? Well,
Three Rivers Bulldogs.
Yes, Three Rivers Bulldogs. I remember going to it had to have been a high school reunion. I was little. I don't know if that would have been probably the 20-year reunion. And Dad introduced me to his very best friend, Scotty Duggar. And I remember thinking, this dude's your best friend? I've never met him. And I've been around for a little while. How can this be your best friend?
Sure.
But that's exactly what you were just saying. Yeah, we separate a little bit, but you come back together and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Pick right up.
Yep. Yeah.
Huh.
And again, I haven't talked to Matt in forever, but I'm sure we pick right back up where we left off. Always, it's one of those things. You just kind of fall back into step, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, Neil and Duncan I talk to on a fairly regular basis. Robbie only when I have something really funny about sports. He's a Redskins fan. So up until recently, they've been terrible, just like the Miami Dolphins, which are my favorite team. So I give him all sorts of hard time about them typically, but that or making fun of the Cowboys because neither one of us like the Cowboys. Sorry for all you Texas people. I cannot stand them. They were so good in the 90s, and all of my friends back in the 90s jumped on the bandwagon because they were good. And I'm like, no, you can't like somebody just because they're good. It's not fair. Shouldn't be allowed.
When Jerry Jones fired Tom Landry in whatever heck year that was it. That was it for my dad. Cowboy. He hadn't watched them since, I promise you.
That's hysterical. Yeah. So does he watch NFL at all or no?
No, but
oh wow.
But I remember
swore off it.
Yeah. But that pretty well did it for NFL and him.
Interesting.
Tom Landry.
Interesting. I grew up liking the Cubs. Went to my first game. I think my mom will correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure. I think I was 6 weeks old when they took me for the first time. Because again, I was born up there in Northwest Indiana. I've liked them forever. They were good there for a very short period of time, won the World Series. But other than that, they've just sucked my entire life. And I just deal with it. I mean, same thing for the Miami Dolphins. Just terrible. I guess this is to say I'm loyal, if nothing else. Like everybody loved the Atlanta Braves back in the 90s because they got really good. Everybody loved I call it the Cowgirls back in the day because they were so good, but they're not so good now, are they? Bradley. Sorry. I love the fact that somebody's going to watch this and be like, dang it, he called me out like that. That's messed up. So sorry about that, Brad. But yeah, so anyway, back to friends. So, I mean, you have multiple best friends. It's okay to say them. I mean, obviously, Jeff is a very good friend of both of ours and the show because he's our only sponsor so far. Uh-huh. But so what are your other thoughts on best friends? Is it allowed or not?
Yeah, I'm okay with it, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you have to. If we will all agree that that's how you decide who your best and how many you have is who will come get you out of whatever jam you're in. No questions asked, whose car are we taking, that kind of thing. Then, yeah, I think it's cool to say I've got lots of best friends. I'll just say it.
There you go. There it is. He's not going to name any names, folks, but he's too afraid to do that. I mean, seriously, like as I get older and I think about it, I mean, ultimately, I've never been one to have a whole lot of friends. I just haven't. It just is not who I am. But to have that core group of friends that is just really, really good and you can rely on for anything, no questions asked, no judgment, like I need you right now. And they come, and whether it's coming to Mexico or like, hey, something just happened. I have an emergency. Something happened to Annabelle. Something happened to Graham. I need help. And there's just no questions asked. They drop everything and come help you out. And in the vice versa, right? My friends know if they ask me anything, it's done. Like literally consider it done. That's just the way it is. And I think that's what it's about to me. It's not about having a ton of friends, which obviously I think it just naturally, as you get older, it gets less and less. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but it just feels like, because you're in school and then as you get out of school and get into real life, it just becomes less friends in general. But yeah. So I guess one of my next questions would be, and this came up the other day for me as well, is what level of friend do you have to be, or would I have to be with you in order to, if I get into a fight at a bar, I don't really drink, but if I'm somewhere out in public at a bar, at a baseball game, whatever, what level of friend do I have to be before you just automatically jump in, you're helping out no matter what, or you might just, if I'm not at that level, you just sit back and go, ooh, should I get involved? Ooh, that was tough. That was a big hit. Like, what's that level?
Well, I think it's the same. It's that same question. The I'm stuck in Mexico is the same thing. Hey, man, I just started something over here. And may not go well. Are you in? You bet I'm in. I don't even know what you did, but okay,
I'm swinging.
Let's go.
I'm coming over the top.
Yeah, and I've done it. I've been there with that group of guys, and you all know who you are. We've been in those situations where, great, I can't believe you just did that.
Sure.
But let's go.
Here we go.
Okay.
Thanks for doing
this. Here we go.
And
that's another reason I don't go to the island, because it always happened on the island.
Wow. Why you gotta hate on the island?
I'm telling you.
I have lived out here now for 9 years and I have yet to get in a fight. That's really strange. It's really strange.
There was.
So did this have anything to do with Farrah's or Pelican?
We called it the Shark Tank. It was called Sharkies, I think.
Okay.
We couldn't go in there without ending up in the parking lot.
That's so funny.
There was and what would do it? They had one of those punching bag.
Okay.
That it was a game, and it would show how hard you punch every time we did that. Some other group would come, and it ends up in a fight. If you don't want to have to all the bar owners out there, if you don't want to have fights in your bar, get rid of that machine, because that's what does it.
Because that's the only thing that starts fights in bars is that machine.
That one will do it every time.
Every time. That's hysterical. That's really funny. Yeah. I've never hit one of those and then ended up hitting a human being. So I don't have that.
Well,
experience.
It's not. It's always the two biggest guys in two different groups that square off on one of those things. And then the next thing the two little guys are the ones starting the fight. So
that's funny.
Here comes everybody.
That's really funny. I love it. See, so for me, like the threshold for me to jump in and help you out is lower than best friend. Like, for example,
I'll agree with that. I'm okay with that too.
For example, the people who will not be named but know who they are on Annabelle's soccer team, the mothers very specifically, might include my own wife. that say things that could potentially get us into trouble. Yeah, I mean, I can go to town. I mean, again, I like these people a lot. I mean, they're very nice people. I would consider them all friends, but I wouldn't consider them best friends. But if it comes down to it, I don't want to. But if we're throwing, I guess we got to throw, right?
Okay.
Like, here we go. Like,
awesome.
It's, again, that said, if any of you listen to this in the group chat, I need you to clarify that I'm not advocating for this. Like, let's not do this. Let's not get into a fight with people from other cities that shall not be named.
I like it. Do it.
Oh, gosh. Like, some of these parents.
Come on, parents.
Okay, so seriously, parents of kids in sports.
He's got your back.
Yeah, I do have your back, 100%. I've got your back. But let's not do this. Like, let's not do it. I don't want to have to do this. Kids, parents, not the kids themselves. Well, sometimes it's the kids. But these parents at sporting events are nuts. I mean, they're absolutely insane. A guy tried to fight Deanna at a baseball game 2 seasons ago. Like, legitimately tried to fight Deanna.
Really?
Yes. She was, so at Little League, like, one person does the scoreboard, one person from one team, and then there's another team out there that, like, writes in the book, right? Baseball book, keeps track of runs, makes sure that, hey, are we correct? She had recorded, like, an extra out or something, or not recorded a run or something on accident. Some people on the other team started chirping some of the parents, and she's like, she thought she was correct. And then when corrected, she's like, okay, fine. Like, you tell me what you think it is. Like, I don't know, because they didn't have their person up there. She was the only person there. So she was trying to do everything, right? And she's like, okay, you tell me what it is. I don't care. Like, I'll make it whatever it is. That does not matter. You tell me what you think it is. This one guy in particular started chirping really bad. So I go from the stands and go to start walking over there, and he really starts, like, going at it. And I'm like, yo, I pointed at him, I was like, you're going to sit down right now. Like, that's what you're going to do, because what you're about, like, I don't know what you think you're about to start, but, like, yeah, if you want to see somebody throw some hands, yell at my wife. Like, I'm fairly certain, luckily, again, never had to do this, but I'm fairly certain I would just black out and just go. Like, here it is. Okay. So that one was so bad. So here's what's funny. Very next kid up to bat, Graham Heavilin. Very next kid up to bat, hits a home run, knocks in 2 other people. Game's over. Wow. That was awkward. Oh, yeah. He ended the game. It was awesome.
Good for him.
He had a home run. He's like, I got this, Mom. Don't worry about it. Yeah, ends the game. So here we are, though, 4 weeks later. Graham is asked to come play for that team because they don't have enough players. So Graham is asked to come play for that team. That dad confronts me again. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, we're not going to relive this. We're not going to relitigate what happened. It doesn't matter. 1, it's just a game. It actually is just a game. 2, whether the score is right or not, we scored enough runs off of that home run that the game was over anyway. Any way you sliced it, the game was still over. 3, I'm here to have my son help your son. If you don't want the help, I'm happy to take him home. Now, no skin off my back. It's fine. It was crazy. I mean, just absolutely insane.
Let's not forget you were yelling at my wife.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot, we had...
Good job, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like, feel proud of yourself. So another one was at one of his games, one of the coaches, I'm not sure if it was a coach or a parent, I think it was a coach, punched the umpire. Punched him. The umpire hit him back. I mean, a haymaker, man.
Good.
Just over the top. Like, it was insane. I mean, this guy... I can't
imagine being those umps and having to listen and take that garbage.
The umpire was probably 65 plus. The guy that was, like, chest bumping him was like a 1.5 feet taller than him and 35 years old. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what are we doing? So, of course, their entire bench clears, and, like, some of them are trying to decide, are we fighting? I'm like, first of all, like, this old man, like, do you really want to be the guy that's fighting the old man? Because that's weird. Like, that's really strange. And then some of them, they're, like, trying to pull him off. Our coaches run out there, pull him off. I get all the kids and get them in the dugout, because there's just as likely, I mean, we're in Texas, there's a very high chance that somebody pulls a gun down and starts shooting. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm like, hey, kids, get behind me, because I also might start doing that if something starts flying the other way. Yeah. It was actually scary for the kids. Like, they were like, whoa, hang on, parents, this is nuts. So it's just, what kind of
maybe they learned who their best friends are too.
That's one way to do it. Learn real quick.
Learn quick.
When the bullets start flying from the adults that are mad about a Little League game. I mean, you haven't had to deal with any of this though, right?
No.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing. And I mean, it's only gotten crazier as the kids have gotten older. But my wife pointed out the other day, like, as they get older, you get further and further away from the field. So maybe that's a good thing. Like, because like right now, soccer, you're basically sitting on top of the field. You're sitting right next to the other
Right.
parents. But, when they're in high school, you're in the stands. You're farther
You're in the
away.
stands,
You can't
there's
hear each
nets.
other.
Yeah.
That's the hope because goodness gracious, it's just absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. So what type of sports did you deal with when you were a kid? Did you help with your brother's daughters or what?
Yeah, a little bit. So
Best uncle in the world, allegedly.
I pretty well am. Do
you have a cup or anything that says that?
Bet I will within 2 weeks. I bet there's something.
There's not right now, so we don't know. Still questionable.
Yeah. They rodeoed, and
Okay.
yeah, I was involved in that a little bit. And pretty self-sustaining though, both of them.
Sure. So what makes you the best uncle in the world then?
Well, I've got a podcast now. Evidently that's pretty cool.
So you're just now the best uncle in the world? Like
I
just earned that.
It added to it. Sarah Kate asked for one of those intramural Texas Tech shirts, and she's got it.
There you go. You were supposed to be wearing it today, but I see that you aren't.
Well,
what happened?
She's got it.
You said you had two.
Well, I do, and I took a picture, and you saw it. The other one's not. I don't. Yeah, maybe I can wear it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I saw a picture. Now so for anybody who's made it this far in the second podcast, we have social media that's about to be set up eventually, maybe. The problem is I'm in charge of that, and I've been busy. So we'll get that set up so we can actually share some stuff. We're going to actually have a real podcast too, for those of you who don't like to watch stuff on YouTube, like myself. So we'll have that shortly. I'll share Clay in his t-shirt there. It was pretty funny. Again, the fact that that's a thing is just so obviously that wasn't a thing in high school. What did you do in high school?
Rodeoed, played football. I guess I ran a little bit of track and rodeo season kind of went together. So I didn't run a lot of track, but
I don't really enjoy running. I did it some as a youth, but now only if somebody's chasing me, really.
Yeah.
It's kind of when I want to run.
Okay.
And I don't even really want to run then, if I'm being honest.
If you would have told me in middle school, high school, whatever, that at 48 years old that I would enjoy running, I'd have thought you were nuts, but I actually do. I do. I'll run several miles a week, but that's it. I can go. But
nobody's chasing you when you do it.
Nope. I can go 1 mile. That's it. I stop right then. Walk home. Walk the rest of it out. I'm not giving you one more step than a mile.
So you have no desire to take it further?
No. God. No.
Why?
I can't.
Yes, you can. Oh my gosh. If you can go a mile, you can go 2.
But I'm giving so much to get that mile done that's my release. I'll do it, but I'm done at 1 mile.
Interesting. Yeah. See, I'm weird in the fact that if I'm going to do 1, eventually I have to do 2. Like I have to. And then if I do 2, I'll have to do 3. So I ran some cross country briefly. And the most we ever did, I think, was like 13 miles. That's a long way. Yeah. And that's a lot of running. I blame it on the fact that I don't have any cartilage in my right ankle, and I've had to have several surgeries, and that's why I don't run, because it is painful, which it makes a very good excuse for not running, right? Because it hurts. Like I can't breathe. My heart rate goes up. Just sucks.
But you're in pretty good shape. You got to do something. What do you do?
I don't do anything really. Like I did just start working out relatively recently because I'm getting old, and you've seen Graham. He's built like a freaking tank. If I don't start working out, he's going to be able to beat me up when he's 12. Like that's unacceptable. I mean, he's not tall, but he's built like a tank. So like I have to do something, but I've managed to just watching what I eat. My main food group is sugar. So if I just stay away from that,
wow.
If I stay away from that main food group, my weight stays fairly consistent. So I lost quite a bit of weight about 3 years ago using Weight Watchers. Shout out to Weight Watchers if they want to be a sponsor. Yeah, if they want to be a sponsor. I used Weight Watchers for the second time in my life, lost about 20 pounds, and I've just kept it off because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because when I'm 20 pounds more, have 20 more pounds on my ankle, I can feel it. Wow. Like it hurts a lot. So when I'm at my current weight, I hover within about 5 pounds, and life is good as far as walking, like without pain. I go out and play basketball sometimes with the kids. I can't do it every day, but yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But yes, I have to start working out more. I actually would like it. I joke about it, but I would like it if I could run, just to prove to my kids that they can also do it. Because my kids know everything. What they do know is that their dad wasn't any good at any sports at all when he was a kid. Because I can't prove it because we didn't walk around with these shooting videos and pictures of everything, right? So yeah, so they don't believe anything I say. It's amazing. They know everything and they don't believe everything. So it's just like every other parent out there, right? But yeah, so that's what all I do. You did send me a picture of your Peloton and your heart rate of like 296 or something insane. It was like 180. I was like, your heart's gonna explode, bro.
Yeah.
Like
my doc said, do it. I asked him, is it okay to be at a 180 heart rate for 20 or 30 minutes? He said, as long as you don't fall off dead on that bike, then yeah, you ought to be fine.
Well, I mean, that's fair. Okay. So in the one time you do fall over dead,
right?
Like,
it's pretty ending, I guess.
Yeah, dang. Whoops, I was wrong. My bad.
Yeah.
JK, he can't do it. That's really funny. So what else do you do sports wise, hobbies wise? What do you got going on?
I was thinking about that too. Not only, I guess, is it okay we can have multiple best friends. Those friends also come in different groups, I guess. Yep. You have maybe your roping friends or hunting friends, your best friend that married your cousin a long time ago. So yeah, but hunting and roping and those kinds of things.
So I've never really, since I moved down here, the only hunting I did was with Colin, who you actually know, Colin Chopless. This is the smallest big town I've ever thought of. Like the fact that Kelsey heard this and she's like, wait a minute, I know him. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, he took me dove hunting. I haven't done any other hunting down here than that. Not a big hunter. Never have been. I mean, I think I'd like it. I've got all the guns. Just never really did it. My dad stopped hunting when we moved down to Tennessee, and so he just took me fishing. Really, it's always been kind of my world. I do have one gun. I'm pretty sure that could take down a T-Rex. At least it did for. I mean, Owen carried it in the Jurassic Park. He carried it on his shoulders to protect himself from dinosaurs. So I don't know what I'd ever kill with that, but just in case any dinosaurs come back, good to go.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, maybe not. Who knows?
You see this scar right here in the middle of my head? All right, I'm naming him Brad. So Brad was going to Africa. My best friend Brad's going to Africa on a safari and buys this giant, I don't even remember what it's called. It's his African gun. It's what he's going to go shoot everything in Africa with.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter what it is. This gun will do it.
It'll explode.
So we were at Brad's ranch one day and Brad said, hey, shoot this gun real quick. I said, no, I don't want to. I don't want to shoot that gun. We don't have time to shoot the gun. Plus, I don't want to break. I don't want that scope to hit me. He said, it's not going to hit you. It's fine. All right, give me this stupid gun. You see this scar again? That's what happened.
It turns out
the funny thing is my brother was there, and after it hit me, Trace's like, give me that gun. Let me show you how to do this. His scar is worse than mine.
That's unbelievable.
Thanks, Brad.
He's like, my younger brother's an idiot. Well, let me show you how you really did this. Whoops.
Well, we've got video.
Really?
Yeah, we can put them on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
website.
absolutely. Yeah. That'll be amazing.
Nobody will ever see it.
That's funny. So it's funny that you say that. Africa trip. I've been to Africa a few times. One time I went to Zimbabwe, and the guy's house we would go stay at, his name was Alistair. We would go stay at his house. He owned like half the side of the mountain, and it was like a youth retreat. They would come there, and we would help him build these like A-frame structures that they had like a thatched roof on it. But I mean, they're super tall. They're like, I don't know, 20 feet tall. Like in these. So I mean, it's A-frame all the way to the ground, right? So it's lots of grass on there. And they would have trouble with baboons coming around every once in a while. And they would just go jump on these things and play and just rip out all the thatched roof, right? They're just, I mean, it's like 10 and 11-year-old boys. I mean, this is something my son would do, right? And just tear stuff up, but they're super strong, right? They just happen to be like super strong. And they would just tear up all sorts of stuff. So he would try to scare them off and disclaimer for anybody who wants to get mad at me. No baboons were harmed in the telling of this story, I promise. Potentially could have been, but we're not. So John D, I can't remember the guy's name right off the top of my head, and myself, we had the gun. We see a troop of baboons, and we decide, hey, we're going to go kill one of these things and scare them off. Because they're smart enough, like, hey, if one of them gets killed by a gun, like, they're like, hey, peace out, we're out, we're gone. Apparently, like, smaller monkeys are not smart enough to do that. You can kill, like, multiple in a row, and they just hang out. So anyway, Alistair gives us a gun and says, hey, go kill one of these baboons. So the kid that's there, he's younger than me, and he wants the opportunity to shoot this. And I'm like, man, I really want to do this, but okay, like, okay, here, you can have it. He's like a college student. I'm like, have you ever shot a gun with a scope before? No, but I've got this. Okay, cool. Don't put it right up to your eye. Okay, cool. So we go tracing through, like, there's what they call adrenaline grass, and it's super tall. It's like 8-10 feet tall. And the reason they call it adrenaline grass is as you're walking through, you don't know what's on the other side.
What's behind that? Yeah.
Right? Okay. So you're not sure if it's a lion, if it's a baboon, if it's a jaguar, if it's a goat, which, by the way, we walked through and there were some goats there. Like, all of a sudden we heard something rustling. We're like, oh crap.
Please.
It was a goat. But it scared me to death. So anyway, we finally catch up to these things, and they stop to look at us, and we're like, okay, Sam takes a shot. So he puts his eye right up to the scope, and he's like, I can't see. I'm like, what do you mean can't see? They're like right there. You don't even need the scope. Like, they're so close. Like, just shoot them. John D's looking that way. I'm looking that way. And this is probably a 30-06 is probably what it is. Okay. Shoots, right? And you don't hear the thwack of hitting flesh. You don't hear anything. So I'm like, I didn't hit it. And of course, all the baboons start going crazy, making all sorts of noise, taking off. And then Sam's like bent over like this. I'm like, what is going on? Like, he's like, oh my gosh. His entire eyebrow, because he had it up to the rubber grommet.
He had it on. Mm-hmm.
Entire eyebrow just peeled back. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I see it, and instantly I rip my shirt off and I like slam it up to his eye. I'm like, okay, we gotta walk. Like, we've walked at this point a couple of miles. So we have to walk a couple miles back.
His eye hurts
really bad. There's no ice. There's no medicine. So John D ends up sewing his eye up with no numbing medication. No nothing. Yeah. So I have not seen him in well over a decade, but I'm sure he has a really cool scar and a really cool story to tell about it. But yeah, that was rough, man. So like, yeah, your little one, it's funny because he was on his way to Africa. Where was he going in Africa? Do you know?
South. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. Yeah, probably South Africa or Zimbabwe, I would assume. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so yeah, that was, and then I tried to kill a baboon one other trip, but they were so far away, I could never get a shot on them. So I never got a chance to even shoot at a baboon, actually kill one. So anybody who wants to blow me up, it's fine. I was going to kill a baboon. I didn't do it, but I didn't. It wasn't because it was my conscience got the better of me, though. Like, to be clear, I was trying to help my friend Alistair. So, but yeah, I could go on about the crazy stuff in Africa. Like, everything over there is designed to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to the smallest plant. Like, you're just walking through the woods, you're like, oh my gosh, like, why does my leg look like a razor blade was just taken to it and sliced open?
Yeah.
Because everything's there to kill you. It's just absolutely nuts.
Well, that's why all those South African animals can come over here to South Texas and not miss a beat. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Mesquite trees, weesatch trees, rattlesnakes.
Yeah. That's one thing. So I'm assuming you growing up here, have you hunted on one of those exotic ranches before?
I haven't. I mean, I've hunted on exotic ranches, but
not an
for exotics. Yeah.
Interesting. I just assumed you would have. Yeah. That's something that I think would be fun. Not necessarily looking to kill like anything crazy, but like killing a kudu would be pretty cool without having to go to.
That's why Brad
Zimbabwe.
went. That's why Brad went to Africa, is to get a kudu, and came back with. I think the only thing he didn't kill was a baboon. He may have killed one of those too. I don't remember.
Just don't post it on social media. Yeah. I mean, kudu are just. I mean, they're just absolutely amazing. Like those horns are just unreal. I would.
That's why
I would enjoy that. Yeah. Did he kill? Is it eland? I think that's the biggest.
He got an eland.
Those things are freaking enormous, man. Absolutely enormous. Yeah, I missed a chance to kill a lion by about 2 days. It was a lion that was eating people. So allegedly, this is true. Like, once they get the taste of human blood, they're like, hey, that's easy.
That's all I want.
Yeah, that's an easy kill because it can't run. Like, so we'll just kill him. So Alistair got called up because there you have to be a licensed hunter to own a rifle. So he got called up and is like, hey, can you come help take care of this lion and lioness that are eating people in this village? And he called me. He's like, man, you just missed it. I just got a call. You could have gone with me. We could have killed these things. I was like, jeez. I mean, not that I would have actually been able to shoot him. Who knows if I can kill a lion or not? I'd be like, how nervous would you be shooting something that can just easily consume you? That would make me nervous. I don't know. But yeah, he got to go kill both of them. So that was probably not a very big experience for him, but it would have been crazy for me. So anyway, all right. What else do we have to talk about this podcast?
Well, we started off with friends and ended up in Africa. So
yeah, I mean, literally went around the world there. That's pretty good. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up for this episode. Again, we want to thank our sponsor, which is Rat Hole Drilling. Jeff, thank you for you and the team over there. Appreciate everything that you guys have done to support the podcast up to this point. Again, if you made it to this point in the podcast and you're listening, thank you so much. Thanks for giving us your time. I mean, it's kind of blowing me away that 1,100 people listened. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Wow. So thank you, folks, and we'll catch you again next week.
See ya.